So this is Greg Thompson, the Accelerate Action Coach, and we are talking with Mark Jorgensen today with Midwest Polyfoam. Mark, how's it going today?
It's going well.
Good. Well, thanks for giving us a couple minutes. We really enjoy talking to small business owners and asking them questions about why they got to be a business owner, what intrigues them about it, the benefits, the rewards, maybe some of the challenges. And so if it's okay with you, I will go ahead and get started.
Sure.
All right. So first of all, let's tell everybody about Midwest Polyfoam, how long it's been up and going, who your target market is, that type.
We started early spring in 2020 and we're able to stay busy from day one all the way till the ground froze in December and we shut down for the winter. We mostly did residential work last year. This year we're increasingly doing more commercial work. We have some specialty processes we can do where we can have very minimal downtime in like a busy warehouse where we can stabilize their floors, and then we also have a deep foam process where I think we're the only ones in the area doing it, but unstable subsoils we can actually stabilize by injecting foam into the soil by driving rods into the ground. And we've done several of those this year, and it's been a good solution and saves people a lot of money. We did a house last week or the week before. They had a $120,000 estimate to have helical piers put in, and I think for 10 we were able to stabilize the whole end of the house by using deep foam.
Very cool. So who is your target market? Who needs your products and services?
Anybody with a sinking structure or flat work on concrete for the most part, or people with large voids under structures, or we have a foam that was actually designed to fill large voids behind things like seawalls, and they do a lot of that along Lake Michigan and then of course along the oceans. But we've had a couple applications here where it's applied and we used it, but I don't think people realize how much foam can solve. That there's even one designed to fill incredibly large spaces as big as mines that we use. It's called fill foam, and we put that under a couple of buildings where the soil had eroded out, but it wasn't sunk and wasn't broken, so it just needed something under to support it, and it's perfect for that.
Okay, very cool. Okay, so what got you into determining you wanted to be an entrepreneur, a business owner?
I grew up thinking I was going to fly F-16s, and my eyes went bad in high school, so it wasn't an option anymore. And I spent 30 years, I still do some taxidermy work, but I've always felt like I wanted to work for myself. I ended up spending 22 years in law enforcement and retired the year before last, and always had that drive to do something. And it's kind of like getting into law enforcement. I'm not exactly sure how I did that or how I ended up on this, but I like to work outside. I grew up working on farms, so kind of all just came together for me.
Okay, so is Midwest Polyfoam, are you a franchise, or are you connected with other groups, or are you just a freestanding operation here in Central Iowa?
We're not a franchise, but we buy our products from HMI in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, and that gives us resources to engineers, and they're the ones that design all of the specialty foams for certain applications. So as long as we continue to stay affiliated with them and use their products, we have 60 years of experience to tap into on some of the bigger, more complicated projects.
Okay. So you've been a business owner now for about a year and a half, it looks like. What would you say are some of your biggest wins, some of your biggest accomplishments that you've accomplished in that year and a half?
Out of the gate, I think our biggest win was staying open and being busy enough to pay for our equipment. It's incredibly expensive. So it was a nerve-wracking endeavor to take on, and my wife should, but it didn't take very long. The word got out that we treat people very well. I think we're generally cost less than our competition, but I try so hard to keep our overhead down in order to make us affordable. So, but keeping the doors open, number one, during a pandemic is challenging, but I think it actually helped our business last year because people were at home and doing home improvement projects. Keeping good employees is probably the other one that everyone talks about, and I treat mine very well to hopefully keep them around. I hope that lasts, but I have a fantastic team that I lean on a lot.
Okay.
And then growth has probably been my biggest stressor, trying to figure out, we just actually started a second system up, so that was a substantial investment, but people they don't like to hear you're going to come in 4 months to fix their stuff after they accept your estimate. So we've been able to stay 3 weeks or less almost all of the time. So, but we were growing to the point we had to add another system or we weren't going to be able to do that. So we now have one, and then should we break down, we at least have another system to fall back on too, so we can continue to work.
Oh, very cool. Good, very cool. So those are some of your nice wins, nice accomplishments. How about a challenge or two that you've had happen or come across in the last year and a half?
Probably my biggest challenge is trying to figure out where to put marketing dollars. And I don't know much about it. I don't understand pay-per-click. That's probably how I get half of my leads, but I'm still sorting that out. And time management is a big one. I probably spend 15 to 18 hours a day, a lot of days on the business. And it doesn't leave me much time. That's all just trying to keep things going. It doesn't leave me much time to research things like that. So I'm reluctantly adding staff to answer the phones and free up some of my time to kind of research some of those. But I only had a 2-year business degree, and that was from 30 years ago. So I'm trying to do most of this on common sense anymore.
Okay. So what would you say to a person that's right now punching a time clock for somebody or an employee for somebody, and they're thinking about going out and doing it on their own, that they think they can do it better, that they think the freedom and flexibility would be a good thing to be a small business owner? What are some thoughts that you could give them, some words of wisdom?
Well, it's not a 9 to 5 when you start your own business. It's that old saying about pick which 12 hours you want to work is pretty true. It's hard for me to work less than that most days, but it's also rewarding because the more you put into it, the more you get back, rather than hoping a supervisor or one of your bosses acknowledges how hard you've been working, and you may or may not get rewarded for it. It's up to you what you're going to get out of it, what you're putting into it for the most part.
Okay, good words of wisdom. So tell people how they can reach out to you. How can they find you? We're website, Facebook. Tell people how to get hold of you.
Yeah, we have a website. It's midwestpolyfoam.com, and we're also Midwest Polyfoam on Facebook. And we try to post a lot of the unusual projects we do, pictures of those on there, and just a lot of before and afters to show. And we actually have a lot of the other lifting companies refer people to us. We take on some things that they don't, big stairwells and a lot of them porches, and there's some things that if it's not just basic flat work, a lot of the other companies don't do it, but we kind of take on some extra stuff, so we actually get a lot of referrals from the other companies that way. But pictures of all that stuff is on our Facebook page. Okay.
One last question that came to my mind is, how did you determine that the polyfoam, the pumping, that was an area that you wanted to get into? How did you do that research? Did you find there was a need for that here in Central Iowa, or what would be some words of wisdom for other people that are thinking about doing something on their own? How would they decide what to get into?
So how it started is I needed work done on my driveway, and I had a couple estimates completed, and I had a little bit of sticker shock from it. So I started researching the process and the equipment, and it was it just happened to be at the same time that I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for a business. So HMI actually offers kind of an exploratory seminar where you can go kind of learn a little bit about the process and the business. And I went to a couple of those and then talked to people that do it in other states. And then if you Google concrete lifting in Des Moines, there's only 4 or 5 companies that do it. And if you Google something like an electrician, there's hundreds. So I figured there was a limited market. And then once I was interested, as I went around neighborhoods and looked, there's sunken concrete absolutely everywhere. And it's so much more cost effective than replacing it. It's generally less than half. So, and I settled on the foam just because it's a superior product to what the mud jacking used to be. So kind of how it all played out.
Oh, excellent. Good thoughts. Any other words of wisdom for any future business owners or current entrepreneur business owners that you could pass along to them before we hang up here today?
No, just pick something you like and not something that you just think will do well. If you're not interested in it, it's probably not going to be a passion. And I think my number one passion was just to succeed, but I was also kind of particular about what I was doing. I didn't want to work inside, so there's only so many things I could kind of pick, but find something you're good at and figure out a way to turn it into a business.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Good idea. Thank you very much. So this is Greg Thompson of Accelerate Action Coach Business Coaching. We've been talking to Mark Jorgensen today from Midwest Polyfoam. Mark, thank you for your time. Have yourself a great day.
Thank you very much.